Great. So in my world and my work, I meet lots and lots of interesting and fascinating people. I'm really privileged. Today, this is not one of my clients, yet I've been introduced to this incredible gentleman called Michael Afolabi, who is in
Got it.
America. And Michael has the most incredible story, which I'm sure everybody will learn something from. So welcome, Michael. It's a pleasure to meet you and have a chat with you today.
Thank you so much, Mandy. I'm very honored to be here. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Great, good. Now, your journey begins where you were born back in Nigeria. So tell us a little bit about what was life like in Nigeria and who were the influences that shaped the person you are today back then?
And growing up in Nigeria was such a unique experience. I grew up in a household of two parents. Both of my parents were small business owners that believe in hard work, persistence, and perseverance. I had two sisters and two brothers. We would have been seven, but we lost two at a young age. So five total in my family, and I'm the baby of my house. My mom is one of the people that really, influenced my life. I want to become a doctor.
Hmm.
That's because of the belief of the potential my parents saw in me as a child. So it
Wow.
was influenced by them.
Mm.
And a lot of
Yeah.
people at that time called me doctor, doctor. My mom especially valued education a lot because she was a small business owner and she had faced immense challenge in her business for the fact that she could not speak or write in English. And she promised herself that whatever it's going to take for her to help her children to go to school, she will do it. I studied um, material science and engineering in college back in Nigeria. And I left Nigeria in my final year for a greener pastures, looking for a better dream. And I came to America to study. I actually started studying and I continued engineering
Hmm.
when I got to America until when another challenge hit a pivotal moment in my life when my mom passed away.
Mm. And did you then change your studies in America after your mum passed away? What happened there?
Yes, Mandy. So when my mom passed away, I was so devastated because she's one person that has influenced my life up till that moment. So that, the passion came out of me to learn about human body and physiology because my mom passed away at a very young age of 65
Mm.
and I was
Yeah.
unable to travel back for a burial
Right.
at that time.
Yeah,
So I
that's
wasn't
tough.
able to go to Nigeria, but I just, from all those pain, I, kind of developed a passion in healthcare. Like I want to
Right.
learn about human
Yeah.
body and
Yeah.
how to be able to help people around me and others
Hmm.
to live a healthier and a more, lasting,
Great.
healthy
Yeah.
life.
Right. So you got into healthcare or medicine? What did you specifically study there?
Yes, so I went to nursing.
Hmm.
So I started going to school to become a nurse. Then transferred to a school where I was taking classes to become to get a bachelor's in nursing.
Right. Yeah. And at some stage in this, I know you're married and you have children, but you had an incredible experience where you were incarcerated wrongfully. So tell me a bit about this and how you got through it and what you learned from that experience.
During my nursing school, I traveled out of Chicago area to Georgia, and it was my wife's birthday, day after my wife's birthday. So I traveled before we were planning for celebration on the weekend. So I traveled to Georgia, just for a short trip, mainly to renew my Nigerian passport, because at that point we just had a baby that is, it was about 17 months. High school friends and college friends from back in Nigeria, people that I've not seen for many years. So after taking care of all the business I went for in Georgia, I I was supposed to return back home on a Saturday to celebrate my wife's birthday. And that same night that I went out with friends to say goodbye, because these guys will be the people I might not see for many more years after that.
Sure.
Again,
Yeah.
so we went out drinking, and I had too much to drink. I had a issue of a friend, my friend sending me to his friend to give me a ride home, but he kept taking me to the next bar, the next club, whatever, and I just kept drinking more. At some point, something happened. I went to the bathroom, and I lost the contact with the guys that's supposed to give me a ride back to my friend's house, as I have flight in few hours. So I went out of the streets, you know, intoxicated, called a taxi to take me to my friend's house. But my life changed in that moment. The guy put a gun in my head, tried to rob me. So I took the gun from him. And that, just like that, my life changed. I was falsely accused, and I was incarcerated in the county jail.
Wow.
Every lawyers that we paid were just all about himself. He just kept taking money, money, and money. They requesting more money from my wife. We sold everything we had, saved throughout. We sold everything we had. We maxed all the credit cards, but there was no justice was not
So
done.
what did they think you'd done? If you took a gun, they thought you had a gun on the street and were doing something wrong?
Yes, that's a good question, Mandy. Uh, they accused me of robbing this guy and taking $200, about $200 from him, because I took the gun from him.
Right.
He,
Goodness.
he was on the phone throughout the trip while he was driving me, actually. So somebody on the other end of the phone must have told him, hey, you better call now. If this guy take the gun from you and able to empower you, this drunk guy was able to get a gun from you, you better call the cop and tell them that's his gun. So, and I told him,
Wow.
how would I get a gun? I just traveled from Chicago and I'm going back this morning. I'm traveling back. This is my flight ticket. And I'm like, I paid about over $2,000 to and fro to come out of nursing school and to go rob some guy for $200 in another town.
Wow. It's amazing. One moment, hey, one moment where you said you're intoxicated, but you might not have been. One moment can change our lives forever. So how long
Oh,
were you
yes.
incarcerated for?
I was really kept in the jail for 10 months. During those time, we had paid and three different lawyers, thousands of dollars. And I kept asking them, I want to go to trial. Can you? Because they refused to give me a bond because they said I am a flight risk. Why am I a flight risk? The lawyer, my wife sent all my documentations, my school, nursing school things, my tax return, because I was working and at the same time, full time, and going to nursing school. My wife sent all the documentation to the lawyers to present. They presented everything. They said, this is how much he made a year, this year. This is his tax return. How come somebody can just come, a nursing school student, and just come and rob somebody? But
Goodness.
My
Wow.
skin color, this system is designed to break certain people. The
Wow.
criminal justice system
Mm,
is a victim justice system,
mm.
which needs to be really reformed. You would think at this day in the age, things supposed to have really changed, but
Mm.
it's still happening all over.
Anyway, you did get out of this, but you could have become bitter and you could have gone into crime and you had a family that was waiting for you. So it must have been dreadfully hard. But what have you learned and leveraged off this that's helped you, do what you're doing today? What lessons have you learned from that experience?
Number one, I learned that I could choose to become bitter, or I could choose to use that pain, to use the suffering to help others. In the last couple of years, suicide rate have rise from year 2000 to this year to 2025. Now that we're speaking, suicide rate among young people has rise so
Mm,
high. And I thought
yeah.
to myself, I was pissed off with the system. I was disappointed. I was being violated by the system. But at the same time, I felt like if I continue to stay bitter at the system, a
Mm,
lot of more people are out there that are suffering, that needs help. And I thought about my wife. I thought about my child. In fact, my son, I couldn't even tell this story to my son until a year ago when he turned 10 years old.
you chose to move away from being so annoyed and angry with the system because you were wrongfully incarcerated. And I'm sure you never got the apology you wanted. However, how wonderful that you have leveraged. And you're so right about the suicide rate all over the world, especially in youngsters. And we're living in a loneliness epidemic.
Yes,
It's
I
dreadful.
agree.
So tell me, what are you doing today? How have you what are you putting back into the world? Because I know you have a big why and a big mission now.
Oh yeah, thank you, Mandy. Number one, my strong reason is my strong why is my family and the world that needs me. So after coming back home from immigration detention, because I had to go 10 months again in immigration detention, and I've
Wow.
seen a lot of things happening in that as well. I was finally released, and when I got released, I went back home. It was hard for me to start back again, but
Mm,
with the support of my wife, with my son, taking a look at my son, that I already missed is
mm,
a lot of time, great
yeah.
moments with him.
Wow. Because he
So
was 17 months when you were
yes,
incarcerated. It wasn't even two, and you missed
yes,
nearly 2 years of his life growing up.
oh yes.
Wow.
By the time I
Mm,
was released, my son was 3.
wow.
So yeah, it was really tough. But I just thought about those things, and I was said I'm going to go back to school. So I
Mm,
went into an LPN program and I became a licensed practical nurse.
right.
And I used yes,
Hmm.
I used the pain of losing my mother. I used the pain of being wrongfully incarcerated, wrongfully treated unjustly, and I use it to take care of the elderly people as a licensed practical nurse. And I have worked with people of all walks of life. I let all those pain and suffering,
Mm,
I let it fuel my energy to help those people who need help. And I've in the recent day, um, I'm a transformation coach and coach people that are struggling, people that are stuck.
when you're with people that need help, you've got all these experience and so much here, and you want to help them. But if they said, how do you get through difficult times, what would you say to them? What's your message that you can share from your experiences, Michael?
When I see people that are struggling and asking, how do I want to get out of this? Number one, I let them understand that you have the inner strength that you don't know about. Until you tap into it, you will think you are weak. Everyone is stronger than we believe we are able to. think about your why, your strong reason, your family that needs you, the community that needs you. Think about people that are facing a lot of other challenges in the world.
And I would imagine when you were in incarceration, because our mind can be very powerful, you would have pictured and imagined your family and your son. And was that something that you used to help you keep going?
Yes, absolutely.
Mm. Mm.
Because I think I can imagine how they will live without my support. If anything happens to me, if I got killed in jail, because there was gang members, everything there that they put me, people were stabbing each other and everything. So, and I knew if I come out of this and look at my son, I have missed a lot of his milestone, and I used that throughout while I was incarcerated. I want to be
And
back to
yeah.
support them.
Great. And I think it takes us to, as you said earlier, you said before we took, got to stay connected to your why. And people
Yes.
have read other people's stories, the book by Viktor Frankl, but, they haven't met you, and you're somebody who has a story just as powerful. And there are many people that have stories, but for you, it's a wonderful message. Keep connected to your why. You have to have a bigger reason to keep going, and you got through it. You're now doing wonderful work as a coach, a licensed nurse. Tell me, what have you learned from the people that you have helped? What have you got from all the wonderful work you do now, Michael?
I notice we are all connected through life struggles. And I
Mm.
realized that pain and suffering could be an instrument for growth if
Mm.
we stay connected to our why, our big, strong reason.
Yeah.
Everybody has somebody. And if you
Mm-hmm.
can tap into that why, no
Yeah.
matter what life throws at you, you'll be able to bounce
Great.
back
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
other hand.
Great. And that's a great lesson, because I think in this loneliness era that we live in, or loneliness epidemic, with a lot of digitalization, people are forgetting that they might have friends online, but it's the real connections, which is one of our basic fundamental human needs. So you're really reminding people of something so simple yet so profound. So that's fantastic. Now, you also got great goals. I believe you want to do a TEDx talk or a TED talk. You've done a speaker training. So tell me a little bit about where else you want to go and what you want to do with your message, Michael.
I want to be able to spread a message of hope. I am working on, able to speak on bigger stages. At the moment, I'm working on my first book.
Wonderful, yeah. And will it be about your story? I mean, from Nigeria, and will it have lessons and things from your incarceration?
Yes, for sure. It's going to be
Wow.
sort of like a memoir and
Right.
self help
Mm-hmm.
about resilience and the
Wow,
power in
wonderful. Yeah.
us.
Yeah. Great.
My mission is to be able to help as much thousands of people that I can influence and inspire, one
Mm.
family, one person at a time.
What's the one thing or your one message that you would share with others?
Simple. Life will always throw curveballs. Stay grounded, stay connected to your why. We have to stay connected to the people that can be a resource to
Mm.
us.
Yeah.
If you're struggling, talk to somebody. The digital world,
Yeah.
everybody wants to stay online, but we got to just stay grounded and stick to the support system.
And you also said something that I'd like to share earlier that I thought was great. You said beliefs, was it, and belief that, or your belief is that setbacks are setups for a greater
Comebacks.
comeback. That's a wonderful,
Yes.
wonderful expression. I'm going to say that again. Setbacks are setups for a greater comeback.
Comeback. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
that's a
that's
very
correct.
powerful
Yes.
message in that one, as well as the connection. People still have to find something within them. And I think what a great message and philosophy you share, that your belief and your focus is that a setback is a learning
Always,
to come back even
yes.
greater.
Because
Wow.
whatever you're going through right now is preparing you for the greater place, the higher side that you need to be on. It's just preparing us to get there, something to get us ready for the next, stage in life.
Awesome. I don't think you ever really got much of an apology at all from your incarceration because you were wrongly incarcerated. Do you believe in your heart you've totally forgiven or come
Oh
to an
yes,
acceptance of it? Mm.
I have not got any apology. At the end of the day, my hard work, I would not be able to challenge myself to know that no matter what they do to me, I have a stronger reason that will get me back up. My faith, my family, my, everything I believe in. Because I believe in God, and I know no matter what they do to us, we still have to forgive them. So I have not got an apology from them, but I just forgive them and leave them to the Creator,
Good.
somebody
Yeah.
that's higher than all of us.
Good. And I think that's another point. Connection is really important. Remembering our why, remembering that setbacks are setups for
Set
greater
up for
comeback,
comebacks.
and also whatever religion, or we have to have our own faith, whatever meaning we put, whether it's a rock, a sun, a moon, a god, a man
Yes.
with a beard, or whatever, it
Nature,
doesn't
whatever.
matter. As humans, it's so important in this day and age, exactly as you had to learn the hard way. Although I think you had strong pillars from your wonderful upbringing in Nigeria and your family, that we must have build our own inner strength. And if we don't have something to believe in, then I think that's where a lot of people are lost these days. So what a wonderful message. And I know you're going to go on to do great things. I look forward to hearing from you when your book is out and you're helping people as a like part-time licensed practical nurse, and you've started your coaching and your speaking journey. So finally, what would be, have you got a message or something you want to end up with as your message to the world?
My message is don't ever give up, because every setup is a setup for your comeback.
Absolutely. And the other, nothing lasts forever. And
Oh
my
yes,
mantra in my world has always been never, ever, ever quit on yourself. I used to do Ironman races, so you have a determination, and it's exactly such a similar message. So thank you so much,
exactly.
Michael. It's been my pleasure talking to you today, and I'm so glad that your story is so inspiring and you've turned adversity into opportunity, and now you're doing your bit to help many, many other people in the world. And I wish you stay connected. I wish you all the very best in your speaking, coaching, and your passion to help and serve humanity to a greater level.
Thank you so much, Mandy. It's my pleasure. Thank you for this opportunity, and I hope everyone that's going through anything out there can continue to fight and stay grounded,
Yeah,
because there's any all these challenges is taking them to the next place.
absolutely. I quite agree. Anyway, it's been a pleasure talking to you, Michael. And until next time, until we meet again. Yeah.
Thank you, Mandy.